What is going on, YouTube? Pass the Prop is back. We're going to be recapping NFL Week 1, talking about some fantasy stuff, all of our props, how we did, everything, as well as play some bets for tonight. We got a Monday Night Football game. I'm going to be doing a little Monday night, a little MLB, just because, I have to, because it's a small slate today. But joined as always by my guy, Stu. How you doing, man? How was Week 1 for you?
I'm doing good. It was fun, man. It's always fun to have football back. It's exciting. Then you hate yourself. You look at a couple of props you didn't place. You look at a couple of props you did place that didn't go very well. Like, it's the whole range of emotions. But I'm super happy that we're back. Obviously, had a great show over on Friday with Prop Bomb. Shout out to him for joining us. Should have some more great guests this year as well. So got that to look forward to. But yeah, I was just super happy to have football back. And we had good games too as well. Like, we had a lot of entertaining games. Maybe that 4 p.m. slate kind of sucked, especially as a Commanders fan. I was definitely not feeling too good after we went down double digits to Baker Mayfield, but I enjoyed it, man. Shout out to Anthony Richardson too. I mean, I've got him on like all my fantasy teams, and just watching that go down. I mean, the Colts are truly going to be the most frustrating team in the league to bet on, guys, because you saw all the highs today. There were some lows, but he's not going to land like 2 60-yard bombs a game. And if you take those away, the Colts. It was bad. It was real bad. So I'm just warning you, the Colts are going to be like must-see TV every week because Anthony Richardson's just like budget Josh Allen right now. So they're going to be super fun to watch. But I did want to warn people that it's not going to always be this pretty. Not every single one of those bombs is going to connect. But that one stuck out to me off the bat. Like, I can't wait to watch more Colts games.
Yeah, and I obviously we had our best ball show. Did pretty decent. In the first week, I'm doing a couple of those. I don't know if you saw those. I don't know if I doubt Underdog offers them, but DraftKings offers like these month best ball ones. So it's like the first 2 weeks, top guy moves on, or the top 2 guys move on, and then third week, top guy moves on, and then it's just like a huge tournament for if you make it through. So little nervous because my best lineup, I actually did it on the phone. Me and my dad did it on the phone because he didn't do a fantasy league this year. So I called him. I'm like, hey, let's draft this quick. You have 5 minutes. Let's do it quick. And so I pop on there. And honestly, bro, I loved my roster. I had some Washington. I had a full stack with the Packers. Obviously, that doesn't help me with Jordan Love. And then obviously I had Tyreek, Achane, and Waddle in that lineup as well. But I ended up having only drafting 2 quarterbacks, and it was Jaden Daniels and Jordan Love. So Jaden Daniels is the only one I got left for the whole month that's going to be playing. So obviously was very happy with that. Obviously cashed his touchdown on here on the show, plus 200. Yeah, dude, it almost makes me hate Brian Robinson forever, bro. Like, he's completely useless on this team now, and you guys are going to be losing every game. So Eckler's going to be there, and he was nice. Like, I had to put him on my bench this week because I didn't know what he was going to give me. But, man, dude, you guys are Garbage Town City, baby. They all that garbage time, man, they just racked up like 25 points between Eckler and Jaden Daniels. I'm feeling pretty good about it because I'm feeling they're going to be down in a lot of these games.
Interesting. Yeah, because I didn't even see what his final box score, 4 for 52 receiving. Yeah, wow. Because my immediate observation is Eckler barely played. Like, in the first 3 quarters, I thought it would be like a 50-50 split. Robinson was playing like third downs too. Like, it was like weird. And then, like you said, Eckler, when he did come in, he looked really good as a receiver as well. I mean, I don't know if he's back to, full Austin Eckler, but at least like 80-75% of the way there, which is more than enough for Washington, by the way. So I agree. Eckler is going to be like the garbage time, trailing by 14 check down machine all year long. I'm not sure. I think they play the Giants next week. So maybe that's not the best week to take advantage because that's like the only team that's just as bad as we are. But yeah, definitely agree going forward. Eckler receiving is going to be like a garbage time hammer.
Well, I don't understand what like your roster construction is because you have Terry McLaurin who didn't get any targets. Zach Ertz is like your second leading receiver, and you're playing Zacchaeus like 75% of the routes. What are we doing here? That dude's trash. That dude is trash. Put Austin Eckler out there, dude. Are you telling me he can't beat a slot corner? You're telling me you can't come up with any motion for this dude? Like, I watched that because obviously unloaded on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yesterday in every single way. Godwin, Baker, DFS, those were my stacks every single time. I'm just pissed that I went Otten instead of Mike Evans on my second run. Because damn, dude, I had Baker at like a 4% ownership. I had him in like 3 of my 4 lineups because I felt great about him. And I missed the Mike Evans train. And shout out to Dylan. Have him in like 50% of best ball. Phenomenal.
Same.
We talked about him on the show. We went over our best ball with him. Phenomenal. 1 catch. That's all you need. And he made it into like 3 or 4 of my lineups with 11 points.
And he would have had 2 touchdowns. He had a touchdown called back, or like either dropped or called back. I don't remember in the first quarter. But yeah, the usage for him was awesome. And yeah, I'd even talked about his touchdown on the show on Friday. So that was fun. McMillan looked good already. And yeah, and I bet on 2 quarterbacks this week. It was Baker and it was Sam Darnold, and they both rocked, which is like, out of all the outcomes, those 2 being the guys that I bet on and actually were awesome, I didn't expect. So it was great to see. Hopefully, we got to remember Washington is a little league defense, so we'll see if Baker can keep that up going forward. But definitely was fun to see kind of like the mediocre guys, really pop out in week 1.
Yeah, and I know last year we were Dog City over here. We cashed a lot of dog tickets. Panthers from Prop Bomb. Unfortunately, the Panthers are. I mean, you got to say they're the worst team in football now, right? I mean,
I think so.
That was the worst performance I've ever seen. The only thing worse than the Panthers was the second half play calling in the Arizona game. Arizona had like 40 total yards in the second half. And what are you like? I don't understand it. Like, I love James Conner. I have a lot of James Conner. But the fact that on these 4th and 2s, you're just running a side run with James Conner trying to get to the edge. James Conner ain't fast, bro. Like, why are we not like Kyler couldn't find Marvin Harrison on like 3 open shots? He just looked scared. Like, it was just bad. And I'm like, maybe like switch up how we're doing this, because you're just running Marvin Harrison down the field. Like, run some cross, get him a chance to get the ball. And it was just really awful, dude. I shout out to the Bills, but I don't think their defense is that good, bro. Like, it was not as good as what it was advertised. I had Kyler Murray. I had him twice. I had him in a long shot of 50 rushing yards, hit that because the dude was running for his life the whole time. So I was plus 280. But I also had his passing yards because I'm like, you're going to be trailing, and then they get up, and then they just go straight conservative, dude, and they just could not get back on the gas. It's just like some of these coaches just let off too early, man, and try to just like milk this out. It was just like, if you watch the Miami game, it was the same way. Jacksonville was terrible in the second half. It was just really hard to watch some of those games.
Yeah, no, the Jacksonville-Miami, when I was saying earlier in my Discord, is the one I haven't really got to watch that much of yet. So I'm going to be watching that one a little later today for sure. But, yeah, Cardinals-Bills, we still, the Cardinals got it done. But, oh, boy, they should have won that game, like you said, obviously. And, I mean, it's interesting. The Bills are, like, now this run-first team, and they were still able to do that, like, down 14, down 17 points, which is a little concerning for the Cardinals defense moving forward. Not that we didn't know that already. We already knew the whole idea behind this was like, we need a backdoor cover. And it was the exact opposite, right? Where they came out on fire and then they couldn't get anything going. We got to figure out a way to get Marvin Harrison the ball a little closer to the line of scrimmage. I saw someone over at CBS said that his average depth of route was 12 yards, which would have been the 3rd highest on the week, just behind like Gabe Davis and stuff. Like, that's not how you want to use this guy. Marvin Harrison's really good. Not just, getting down the field, route running. Like, he's a complete wide receiver, and if he's the best you got, right? Michael Wilson. Shout out Greg Dortch. I know you talked him up a lot. Check down machine. But Michael Wilson,
so much Greg Dortch.
It's working out. Week 1 was like, I haven't looked at it yet. I bet Greg Dortch probably had the highest first read target share. I'm pretty sure he did. If not, definitely on 3rd downs. Like, he was going to him on those 3rd downs. So Dortch is here to stay. He might be this year's new like Wan'Dale Robinson, where you just get those receptions ladders every week. But yeah, Cardinals, come on. Figure out a way to get Harrison the ball, because we can't be using him like Gabe Davis. That's not a good idea. I can tell you that pretty easily right here.
Yeah, no, I had in my one lineup that I did a full Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Baker stack. I had Terry McLaurin and Marvin Harrison Jr. as my friends. So just absolutely nuked that one. That one was dead right away because, like I said, it was just bad. Last guy I want to give a quick shout to is my boy Bucky Irving. Drafted a ton of Bucky Irving. Have like 1 share of Rachaad White and everything that I have, and I feel fucking awesome about it after watching Bucky Irving just make some moves, man. That was against a good front 7. That was like Washington. I don't know if you saw, but they just nuked Rachaad White in the running game. Like, Rachaad White's trying to run like Le'Veon Bell, but he doesn't have a good enough line to do that, bro. Hit your freaking spots. Kyrian Williams last night looked awful on like 3 of them that were open, dude. Like they opened up a hole and he runs to the middle. Like it was just like it was the same thing with Rashad White. Like you gotta know what your line's good at, man. You have like a half second hit the hole. You can't be just trying to cut everything. And it was really cool to watch Bucky Irving in his first spot because combine he was dog shit. Like he didn't test out well. His numbers were shit. And it's just like some guys are just good. They're just good at football. They have good reads. They hit the spots. They know where they're going, and they're explosive, right? And that's not something you can't really like go into and say like, oh, he just didn't do well in his broad jump. Oh, he didn't do well in his 40. Well, how many times are you really just going to have a straight open 40 to run through, right? You got to explode. You have to read. It's just like he looked really good and had some pass catches. So that he made it into a couple mile lines with like 11 points. Like that's all you need when some of your guys just don't show up.
100%. He's a good like little zero RB kind of truther, just a guy that he's going to grind it. He's going to get more involved as the year goes on, right? It's week 1 for a rookie, like you said. So it was fun. A lot of rookies kind of, played a little better, and then some didn't, obviously, as well, like the Caleb Williams of the world, who were, just disgusting, just absolutely disgusting in his debut. So we're gonna have to, and even Daniels too, to be honest. Daniels very good on the ground. I'm so curious what his rushing is going to be next week. Like, what's the line that they're going to set it at that I'm not going to play the over? I don't know. It'd have to be, I don't want to say it, but like it'd have to be like 60 for me to not play it. Anything under that, I think, is an immediate bet. But he couldn't throw the ball, and that's a problem. Like I need to watch the game again. That'll be painful. But my first thought for me when watching Daniels was Justin Fields, and that's not a good first thought, right? A lot of the same uncomfortability in the pocket, not being able to read a defense. I don't want to put all that on him yet. This is just one game. But he did not look comfortable whatsoever. Like the farthest thing from comfortable. So we need some of these quarterbacks that are rookies to pick it up a little bit going forward.
Beautiful. Well, let's just, we kind of already ran through what we played already. I had Christian Kirk. I was very disappointed in that game. Again, Jaguars just tried to run the clock out. They got up 10 points and ended up losing. So shout out to the Jaguars for losing. Hopefully they figure out their shit, because that was, again, these guys are just trying to run out second halves. Like you can't play like that in the NFL. These guys are too good. And you can't just turn it back on. And again, Baker just absolutely smashed. I was kind of nervous that he was just not going to throw the ball the rest of the game. And then luckily had a couple of those bigger plays down the field. Chris Godwin obviously crushed. And we'll kind of talk about that here as well with your play. Chris Godwin comes through and just absolutely smashes this line.
Yeah, it was great. It was exactly what we expected from Godwin. I mean, taking advantage of mismatches, just being that third down weapon, even on the outside, he killed it in the slot, but he was good on those little like 8-yard out routes, just getting the first downs. Godwin, when you hear an offensive coordinator that was in that Rams offense talk about putting a guy in the Cooper Kupp role, you want to play him. That's a guy you want to play. So definitely loved Godwin right here, and will definitely be bending moving forward. The unfortunate part was my other guy, Javonte, who I loved this week. Oh, my God, man. That whole Denver situation, this was disgusting. I mean, absolutely disgusting. 10 targets behind the line of scrimmage. I bet on both Denver running backs, and I did not win either of those bets because I took McLaughlin yards, not receptions. So I somehow went 0-2 in a game where Bo Nix completed 26 completions, 10 of them behind the line of scrimmage, 3.3-yard average, and somehow the running backs did not. Like it's pretty astonishing the things that came together, and he still missed this. So just a disgusting team moving forward. Probably McLaughlin receptions would be the move next week, but I'm wondering, it's probably going to be at 3.5 at least. I mean, Bo Nix is exactly what we said he was. The analysis was all like spot on. Unfortunately, the play did not cash, and that's what matters at the end of the day. But yeah, Bo Nix, check down machine, short yardage, running back, everything like that. It's just one of those things where Javonte was not out there enough, and they didn't get the job done. So I'm going to hate watching this team play this year, but I probably will be going back to some Broncos, maybe longest completion under next week as well.
Well, I'm saying right now is my highest exposed player at 54% was my last round pick, Franklin from Oregon. That's the buddy of Bo Nix. He got a healthy scratch this week, right? He just got scratched. Why wouldn't you play him? He literally does the exact same thing you're doing with all these other dudes, and they all just suck. Like Josh Reynolds, like, supposed to be your 1 or 2, didn't do anything. You look at Cortland Sutton, he's not going to throw the ball down the field like you're really just – I mean, he's going to get traded at the trade deadline, and he should. So I'm just hoping that we start putting a guy in there like Troy Franklin that can kind of do what we're saying here. Why don't you just put like 9 dudes in the box, one safety? You almost run like a punt return damn near. Put one guy in the back and just send the fucking house at this guy because – watching this offense, it was bad, bro. Like that, the 3 o'clock games were all dog shit. They were terrible outside of that. Tampa Bay cashing for us and all those. But I do want to make a running tally of how our guests do on the show as well. Prop on went 1-1 and did cash a half unit on his touchdown guy, Kenneth Walker. So we ended up with 0.36 units on the show. Obviously, we're not going to put the touchdown in as the record there, but he did get us some green. He did make us some money this week. And shout out Jaden Daniels for obviously cashing the plus 200. As well. I won't even bring up Kincaid, Stu, because I know it'll make you angry. I don't want to get you riled up too early today, you know?
Yeah, I already just talked about Javonte. We probably just keep going on right here.
But we have a good game tonight, right? We have a good football game here. Just looking at the odds right now. I'm going to go to DraftKings for odds right now. Jets +4, Niners -4, -112 on the Niners, getting a little bit of love there. Over under is 43, right on the dot. Stu, we have to take a side. What are you taking? We got +4 on each side, -4 for the Niners, or 43 over under either side. Sticking out to you.
To me, if I had to pick one, I'm going under in this game. I mean, 2 good defenses and 2 teams that when their offenses are good, they're very slow and methodical, right? Even in Aaron Rodgers' MVP seasons, it's not like he was throwing the ball 400 times a game. They were just by far the most efficient teams in the league, especially in the red zone, right? They were great at the play action. They were great at converting on the red zone chances. And that's what made Rodgers so amazing. But it's not like they were speeding down the field, like tossing the ball 40 yards at a time. There's a lot of running, a lot of game control, a lot of clock control. And both of these teams do that a lot. Both of these teams are going to lean into Breece Hall and CMC. That's who this game is going to be all about. And then both teams have awesome defenses on the other side. So the biggest question mark is really Aaron Rodgers. What are we getting out of Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career, coming off of a serious injury? Is he just going to be able to easily bounce back? I wouldn't be as confident. I don't think this is the best. The NFL could have given him like the Jags week 1. They could have given him a little easy step back up, but they kind of threw him to the Wolves right here. It'll be a great game, but I think the under is kind of easily the pick if I had to make one on the side or the total.
Yeah, I mean, I told you before this, I have the Jets defense in every league that I played fantasy in year long. I took them over the Niners defense. I just really like this Jets defense. And if they were that good last year and they were getting put in positions that were awful and they're still holding teams to field goals in there, I think, again, you could see Moody having a day. I've seen him pretty popular on Twitter. I saw like 3 or 4 people already on Jake Moody for points or field goals. I don't mind that either because, man, I really like this Jets defense. If you're going to put them even in the red zone, man, it's a tough defense to crack with how good that front 7 is. But I do really like if I had to pick a side, I think it would be the under if I had to go to a side. I don't know. 4 just seems right. It's just like where I need it to be. I don't trust the Niners to just go up and down on this Jets defense. Like I don't see it, right? And I think Debo's going to have himself a fun little day out there today with that defense. And I mean, how much Ayuk do we see with him holding out for as long as he did, right? So a lot of question marks for me, but obviously CMC is going to show out. Breece Hall said he's healthy as ever. It's going to be a fun one there on those, but this might be like a 2-hour game.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see it. I mean, it's an interesting one. Like I think going into this with a very aggressive spread pick would be a little ballsy, just because like I think live betting would be the way to approach the spread. Like I need to see a quarter of Aaron Rodgers and see exactly what's up here. And if I had to pick, I think I'd have to take like the Niners first half. Just because we know Shanahan is like the god of scripted plays. Like when we're talking about just scripted action, he's the best of the best. Things get a little out of control when it comes to clock management, when it comes to how you call the game in game, right? But just going for the first half or something like that, I think that's probably when we see them hit this tough Jets defense. And once the Jets can make adjustments, once they get Saleh, that little halftime speech, they get fired up, then I think they probably lock in a little bit more in the second quarter or second half.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know we got some plays for you guys today. We are ready for you guys. I have a little, like I said, combo with a baseball play here. But I'll let Stu take it away. We just hyped up these defenses, but we're going on and over on this guy. It does seem a couple yards too low.
100%. We got George Kittle over 44.5 receiving, -110. This has been bouncing all over. I almost released this last night at 42. But actually, I woke up this morning and it was 40.5 on Caesars and on MGM. So I released it at 40.5, expecting it to move back. 44, I think, is still a good number. I'd probably go to like 46 or 47. That'd probably be the highest I'd play it. Everywhere else in market right now is 44 or 45. MGM still does have 42 at -130, so I would still play that obviously too. But I think the 44 is the most like fair number to track. It's kind of in the middle of everything right here. And this line has moved a little bit more than I expected. But I love Kittle. I thought it would originally be lined like 48, 49. That's kind of why I'm more comfortable taking the bump, and why I was so surprised seeing 42 last night. Because George Kittle really profiles exactly what I want against this Jets defense. The Jets defense is really, really good. We've already said that like 8 times. They have the best cornerback trio in the league. I don't even think you can really debate that. It's an absolutely lockdown unit, not just Sauce, but Reed as well, right? I think not only is Ayuk, who, like you mentioned, hasn't played, right? We missed camp. We saw how that affected Jamar Chase in his first game back against an arguably lesser defense, right? How he didn't, look 100%. It's going to be hard to expect Ayuk to look 100% out the gate. And then Deebo Samuel, a guy who fantastic, utility weapon, but just pure receiving. Deebo has had a lot of trouble against man coverage and high-end corners over these last years. When you get him just in terms of the route running, it's not great. He's not separating, especially in man coverage. I think Deebo is really going to be a weapon as like in the screen game, some rushing attacks, maybe an end around. I think Deebo gets involved in all kinds of creative ways, but I really don't think it's going to be through the air. I think the two biggest factors are going to be the running back, Christian McCaffrey, and the tight end, George Kittle, right? Because we know George Kittle is a guy that's very consistent. He's over this in 10 of 17 last year. But what I really like is he's one of the most dominant tight ends in terms of yak, right? He led all tight ends last year, 15 yards per catch. That was 2 more than Isaiah Likely, who was second on much lower volume. He is the king of yak. He's the king of creating explosive plays. And the Jets secondary, especially that safety group, are not the best tackling team, right? Because it's important for me to remember that when you're giving stats about an elite defense, them being middle of the pack is very bad in comparison to what they're doing everywhere else, right? So a safety group that was below average in tackling last year, the whole defense was. They posted a 12.9 missed tackle rate, which would put them just around the middle of the league. So you're going right from elite and everything else to about middle of the league in tackling, right? When you look at the individual safeties as well, Tony, I forget what his last name is, Woods or Jones. I got it written down somewhere. He's their lead safety. He had a 17% missed tackle rate last season. So it's one of those things where we got some like tackling problems in the secondary, especially in the safety group. I think that could be huge for a guy like Kittle, who we know, especially the hip drop tackle stuff being taken away. That really hasn't been talked about at all yet, but that could be something that when defensive backs have to change the way they're tackling these huge guys, I think that could be something that plays out a little bit more here. I just think Kittle's in kind of the perfect situation where the wide receivers are having a tough time. It's a low-scoring game. You're going against a tough defense. You're likely going to be having to pass a decent amount. I think Kittle over the middle and CMC in those little check down spots is going to be exactly how this offense rolls. And given that Kittle not only can make huge plays down the field, but can also now have this kind of yak potential to break some big plays in the short and intermediate, I think that's what pushed me over. So I love Kittle. Like I said, probably play it to like 46, 47. It should be 44 or 45 pretty much everywhere in market right now. So definitely love backing George Kittle. Not too many unders or overs I like in this game. I think it's mostly an unders game in general, but I think Kittle is definitely a guy that's going to have a good one.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Obviously, I'm a huge Jets defense fan, so obviously I'm hoping that they can hold them down a little bit. But obviously, Kittle and McCaffrey are kind of, in my opinion, matchup proof, really, because Kittle doesn't need the ball down the field like a lot of these other tight ends do. Like you were just talking off screen with like Musgrave and the Packers tight ends. Like you need to give them space. Like you don't really need to give Kittle space. He could literally just throw dudes out. He just takes guys and chucks them. Like he's literally running guys over. Like he knows he's only going to probably get 4 to 5 opportunities per game, right? He's not really a huge volume guy like you see with like Laporta or Kelsey when he's, not awful like game one. But you don't need that much from Kittle. He's a big play waiting to happen every time. So love that spot. And I'm going to be doing a little combo here, and it's going to be CMC 100 total yards with the Dodgers-Cubs game, over 6.5 bought down. You guys know we don't play that big of juice here, right? And McCaffrey has been, since I posted it, kind of been fluctuating. It was like minus 180 or so on the rushing receiving. It's down to minus 195, so it's minus 120 for this. Now it was minus 115 when I played it earlier in the day. I really like the spot for him. You look at the lines, and again, this is something we talk about quite a bit in terms of like reading the book and kind of seeing where they're giving them, right? It's 15.5 carries for McCaffrey today, and it's kind of juiced to the over. It's kind of expecting that type of game from these guys and not really relying on Purdy to really do everything for you. In the last 8 games of the season last year that he got 16 carries, dude hit this every time. He hit it every time. Obviously, not super efficient in all of them, but the receiving upside is there every single time, right? You look at the Kansas City game, wasn't very efficient, right? He had 22 carries, 80 yards rushing, 80 yards receiving, right? I mean, like that, it's a cheat code, man. It's literally a cheat code. You go back, I mean, first couple games of the year, 22 carries, 152, right? We saw that against the Steelers last game. So it's like, for me, that was the first game last year. And that's the thing for me is you looked at those first 2 games, they gave him 20 carries in that Rams game. That was game 2, right? And you usually think of McCaffrey as a guy, you don't want to give him too much, right? You don't want to load him up too much. We've seen him have injury history. First 2 games, he had 42 carries and still had 8 targets, 50 opportunities in the first 2 games, right? If you're giving me a chance that McCaffrey touches the ball 24 times today, 25 times, and he only needs to make 4 yards a pop, like, I don't care that it's the Jets defense, really, but I'm not playing this at minus 180. Obviously going to roll it with my favorite game for runs today, and that's going to be the Dodgers-Cubs. I laugh because Walker Buehler is throwing today.
I was going to guess
Kyle Hendricks is throwing today.
Oof.
If you had to guess, like 3 years ago, dude, like Walker Buehler's like the man. He's the fucking man. He has the same expected ERA as Kyle Hendricks this year. Both of them 5.17, right? That is terrible. That is both of them bottom 8% in the MLB right now in terms of expected ERA. What I really don't like is you're starting to see Walker Buehler just not miss bats. And my biggest thing right now is you look back on his 2022 season when he was striking out, 21% of guys. You go back to 2021, 26% of guys, 29% of guys the 2 years prior to that. You look what he was doing. The guy literally had a pitch in his sweeper that was 39% whiff. His sweeper this year is 15%. It's a 15% whiff right now. It's just getting smoked. Just not using it that much. And this Cubs team is kind of rolling right now. I don't like to say it much, but this is a tough spot for me to want to go to Walker Buehler. He's just been getting hit around. The power numbers are scary right now. He's got an expected slugging on his fastball at 741, and he's throwing that 30% of the time. The cutter's getting hit around a little bit too with a 452 slugging against. Like it's not great. And you got a lot of power from the left side here. Bellinger, Happ. You start seeing Swanson starting to pick it up a little bit lately as well. They're starting to get healthy too. You got Michael Bush probably playing today because it's a lefty, righty, lefty on the mound matchup. Paredes makes that lineup go a little bit deeper as well. You get to throw them in like that 5-6 hole. Just really nice to have that lineup just get significantly deeper than we have seen in the past. Dodgers get to face Hendricks and they're healthy. I don't really have much else to say. I wanted to play. I really wanted to play a lot of these hit runs RBI spots, but they're all 2.5. Like they're giving me all these huge numbers, and it's understandable. They're both been giving up a lot of pop. Right now, he has thrown. This is Walker Buehler's numbers right now. I think this is hilarious. He's had 71 plate appearances, 60 total at bats right now against his 4-seam fastball. He's thrown 290 4-seamers so far this year. He's given up 22 hits, and 7 of them have left the ballpark. So that is a very small sample size this year, and he's given up 7 nukes already. So you get Dodger Stadium. It's always nice out there, nice ballpark for these Cubs. It's not like it's a downgrade from Wrigley or anything like that, but I'm just kind of worried that both of these guys have blow-up potential here, and I can't play a -180. Right? I won't play that at all. So really like this spot here for these guys. And that's the thing, though. Okay, so this is something else. You can look at the not to get the win, right? First off, it's only on DraftKings, so it kind of eliminates a lot of people who don't have access to it and have FanDuel. But I don't know, man. Like, what if the Cubs go out there and just do what Buehler's been giving up every week? Buehler could give up 6 runs, and then guess what? The Cubs don't really have to worry that much, right? Hendricks could give up 5 runs and still be there. I don't like the Cubs bullpen, which is another reason I like the over here. But if the Dodgers are losing this game, you have a whole rest of the series. They're still fighting for the 1 spot, right? They're still trying to do this. So I think this is a pretty good spot for just runs. I'm not going to take either side. Like, Hendricks is going to eat up innings. That's literally what he's out there to do. Even if he's getting smoked, he's going 5, right? That's literally what they have him out there to do. Give me 5. We'll get to the bullpen. So do really like this spot. I will kick this over to you, Stu. We have a question here about Tyler Conklin. Do you have a thought on this? I will actually kind of talk about this in a second. I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, so it's tough because Fred Warner's still there. They lost their other linebacker, Greenlaw, who is really, really, really good, and people don't necessarily know that because Fred Warner is really, really good. So you don't have to look past that too much. But now it's just Warner. The thing is, the defensive philosophy around the 49ers allows short, kind of intermediate targets over the middle. So, like, I think Conklin could go, like, 4 for 24 kind of thing today. But I don't want to go out of my way to bet him, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I think he'll get some desperation, like short yardage targets and, like, check downs and stuff like that. But, like, still, Warner is still there. Like, it's still they feel like whoever they've plugged and played at linebacker over this last, like, 5-year sample size has been so good where I just trust them enough to be good in that department. But also, when you try so hard to limit explosive plays, you're naturally going to allow, those kind of easy targets to a guy like Conklin. So I see you said his receptions 3.5. I would go receptions over yards, especially I assume you get a better price on that. I don't know if it's plus money, but I would hope it would be at least close. But yeah, I would lean like over on receptions, but it could be one of those where he also is like, I feel like Conklin did it last year. We had like games with like 4 catches for like 16 yards or something crazy low like that. So yeah, there you go. Plus 110. Hey, I haven't even looked at the Conklin line. So he's a pass for me. I have 2 props in this game. I like them both a lot. I don't need to bet on Tyler Conklin, right? But if I had to, I would have him around that kind of 4 catches for like 26 yards kind of mark.
Yeah. So I did a primetime DK lineup because I had some money that I was playing with from the main slate. And my lineup did very good last night, right? It's just the Sunday night game. And obviously I had a 5-0 game. So I did very well in those. And I faded Amon-Ra, who's 60% owned in the 2-game slate, which was huge because everybody had him. Everybody played Laporta, 40% owned. I played Conklin because he was minimum price because I needed to get CMC in my lineup. You can't have a game like this in those. But I had Jamison Williams. I had my Cooper Kupps. I had both Lions running backs. Both of them got in the end zone. Really, really good lineup here so far. But I did play Conklin because he was minimum price, and Parkinson was like 3,500. He did pretty well, obviously. But a lot of people are going to be on Kittle. A lot of people were on Laporta as well. So I could use a little bit of Conklin love in my life. I have Conklin, McCaffrey, and the Niners defense to finish out my night. And I got, like I said, I had Jamison Williams, Cooper Kupp, David Montgomery, Gibbs, all of them scoring. I took Stafford as well. Goff was 40%, so obviously all those people are out because he only had like 10 points. So it played even Demarcus Robinson at minimum price or way down there in price. So feel pretty good about the slate that I played. I would love a little bit of Tyler Conklin love. I think that would be nice because I'm sure he's going to be the lowest owned of all 4 of the tight ends because who the fuck wants to play Tyler Conklin? But he's 3K, so catch a couple. Fall in the end zone. Just make it be like a 1 yarder so my San Francisco defense don't get crushed too bad.
Yeah, no, I would have been with you. I would have been on Kittle and Conklin for DFS purposes, just because I wasn't on the Laporta train yesterday, and then I was wrong about Parkinson. I didn't bet the under, but I definitely thought about it. Parkinson was like legit involved. I was very surprised. I was high on the young guy Davis Allen. I was high on him last year, and that kind of carried over a little. I think I drafted maybe one team, like two teams in best ball. He's barely even relevant at this point. But I just wasn't a believer. I thought like Allen, I think, could sneak in. Higbee will be back. Like I didn't buy Parkinson at all, and then he played well. So I would have still been with you for DFS purposes. I see Lucas in the chat too says we need some Lazard props. Lazard over this last like year and a half has legit been one of the worst wide receivers in football by like every efficiency metric. But also, I'm still kind of in on it today. Like Aaron Rodgers loves this guy, and all that
in the red zone.
True. I was just about to say because there's no wide receiver props, but his touchdown is plus 800.
That's how you play. Don't play anything else but his touchdown, bro. Like he literally looks for this.
I think I'm in. I think that's worth like a $10 free bet or something. Just because Malachi Corley is like his competition. The guy doesn't run routes. If you've never heard of him, they call him like the budget Deebo Samuel. That's because he can't go beyond like 5 yards down the field. Like, and even the coach speak from Saleh wasn't even that great. He was like, oh, he's still got a lot to work on there. Explosive. If Corley's involved, it's going to be a screen, right? So when you take him out, then you look at Mike Williams, who's going to be a guy that's on a snap count. Saleh's already said it like 18 times. I mean, it's only Garrett Wilson. And obviously the 49ers know how good Garrett Wilson is as well. So it could open up some other opportunities. I definitely think Lazard touchdown is one of the better long shots. And actually, I don't know what his price is. It's probably even uglier. But the guy that I was going to play was the Xavier Gibson, the kind of shifty slot guy that we saw on special teams as well last year. I think the special teams look as big because of these new rules. But I'm just checking. His odds are plus 700. So they're actually worse than Lazard's, which shocks me. But it also kind of tells me that I'm on the right track here because I thought it would be like 12-1, 13-1, and the books are already on top of it. But if you remember, Gibson was really involved in the short passing last year. And I don't even think Corley's like ready enough to necessarily be out there that much. So I think Gibson probably takes that kind of short yardage stuff and maybe even the special teams kickoff or something like that.
Yeah, not a bad look. I don't mind you going to those for sure. Let's get a quick recap. Oh shoot, I didn't even see the first couple questions. What is the odds? 300.
It's probably minus 250 or something, right? I mean, I can pull it up.
I'll just pull up DraftKings right now. I can't imagine it's good. DraftKings McCaffrey's minus 175 anytime touchdown. So
better than I thought. Minus 170. Yeah.
I wouldn't play anybody to score a touchdown at those.
You said aside from CMC. Yeah. I mean, maybe Breece Hall, but like we both kind of agree on the unders and stuff. So I mean, I'm probably going to take like $10 on Lazard and like maybe $10 on another long shot and just kind of keep it moving, because nothing's really sticking out too much to me, to be completely honest. Maybe Kill. That's probably where else I'd have to go, but yeah.
Yeah. So Don, I do play BFS regularly. My thing is that I never play single game. I will never play showdown slates. There's just too many optimizers. I don't use an optimizer. I watch games and single hand build. So it's just people are going to play 150 and have like all these different options in there. I only play 1 to 3 max ever. I never do more than that. So on these showdown slates, I only do single entry ones. I don't play them though. I don't do single game baseball. The only single game I do is the Super Bowl. It's the only game I'll ever do that for. And that's kind of just because you kind of have to, to kind of have it there. So I don't see myself playing that one today. Captain, if you play CMC, you're pretty much fucked every other position because they 1.5 times your price. I mean, maybe you do play a Conklin, right? So you could play literally everybody else, but I don't think it's that high scoring of a game. So I wouldn't be able to give you the best answer there just because I don't even know the prices for individual guys on showdowns because I don't play them. Freak Gear, I'm assuming you're winning that one. Hopefully in a full PPR, I think you'll be fine. Work sucks. Come on, guys. Let's get some wins. Also, bet straights first. I found myself trying to parlay everything and those almost all my bets. Yeah, dude, it's tough because everybody wants to see that big number at the end. Right? They all want to see that big number. I've been playing a lot more round robins on those like touchdowns and on, if I'm in a long shot thing. So those ones are fine, but like I don't really parlay, just straight parlay anymore.
Yeah.
Unless I have a round robin in there as well, just to kind of give me a little bit more room. But let's recap here, Stu, and you can go to any long shot you want.
Sounds good. Rolling with George Kittle over 44.5 receiving yards minus 110. I played to 47.5 receiving yards.
Awesome. I'm going to play CMC 100 total yards with the Dodgers-Cubs game over 6.5 at minus 120. Stu, any long shots for you today, or are you ready to roll and get this thing going, huh?
Yeah, I got a quick one. I got CMC to lead the game in receptions at plus 460. Hopefully maybe DraftKings even post a better price, but it's on FanDuel right now. I like it more than most receiving yards by a good chunk, just because it's what I talked about earlier. Obviously, I think CMC is just going to have to be so involved in the check down game. I think both him and Breece Hall are going to have very big receiving roles today. And it's a tough, pass rush on the other side. I already mentioned how tough the cornerback room is. And even though I like Kittle's never been the highest volume guy in the world. We kind of both talked about it. He has these explosive plays, but he's not really that 8 catches per game kind of tight end. So when going through everything, I think CMC is, I would have bet CMC receiving. It's just so hard for me to get to like a 36.5, something like so high up for a running back. But I do think he just stacks up those receptions. And I've been even like a guy like McLaughlin. Look how easy it was to rack up 5-6 catches and do absolutely nothing with them. Like this way, you don't even need CMC to have a positive gain, right? It could just be a pass rush, a blown coverage on 2nd and 10. You get 0 yards. You get that catch, right? You get that advantage. And we both think it's going to be slow, a very methodical, offense from both teams. I think that limits the overall ceiling on reception. So I like CMC. I actually think Debo being higher priced than him was kind of funny as well. Debo probably gets like 2-3 screens too as well, so he could be in contention for this as well. But I just think it's a good price at plus 460. Definitely like CMC to have 6+ catches today.
Beautiful. Yeah, I don't mind the long shot there. That might be a nice long shot spot. 5-6 catches. Unfortunately, my team that I wanted to play for the highest scoring team today is plus 650. They're the lowest odds. I might just do it because I really do like them today. They're going to be my 3-man stack if I do play MLB tonight. I'm going to play the Guardians as the highest scoring team today at plus 650. They're playing the White Sox. And when I look at these, a lot of the times I want them to be the road team, right? I want the guaranteed 9-inning at-bats, first off. Second, White Sox bullpen is the worst in baseball. You get Nick Nastrini on the mound on that side. They're lower odds than the Dodgers, right? So that is crazy to me that they are $100 or a full dollar cheaper than the Dodgers to be the highest scoring team. But they're still fighting, man. They're still fighting in the AL Central. They got to win these games. And if I have this spot, they're a 5.5 team total. I like how they run. They run all the time. Jimenez has finally picked up. And now that top 4 is kind of lethal, right? I mean, it's Naylor, it's Jose Ramirez, it's Kwan and Jimenez, right? That's what you were expecting at the start of the season. And now Jimenez is healthy and ready to go. So love those guys. You start to see those guys that played when they were not healthy, when that team was not healthy. And like Noel, right? David Fry is still playing good baseball. You look at Riccio, I don't even know how to say his name, but I played him in DFS on Friday and he hit a nuke, right? I mean, like they just have these dudes that just find a way to get stuff done. When you have a guy like Nastrini on the other side who just doesn't strike out dudes, I like it. And I wish they would have gave me the K leaders today, but they didn't. So they only gave me these. I do like the Guardians today quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you on that. I'm not really running any MLB right now, but I'll definitely toss that in and wake up next morning and see how it does. That's always the best way to win an MLB bet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the other sides, like I always say like relatively close teams and odds, right? That you're looking at, like the Dodgers. Obviously, I like them, but for them to be not the favorite kind of gives me a little bit of pause, right? Baltimore is the next one. Brian Bayo hasn't been that bad. He's been bad, but not like Nick Nastrini bad. Then you go, and if it does get to it, the Red Sox bullpen has been a little bit better lately. The Mets are 3. I don't trust the Mets. I don't trust the Mets at all. Like, I trust them to not strike out. That's pretty much what I take them for, is to not strike out. And they have an opener there, and I don't like baiting those openers because they're only out there for one. And then I think Chris Bassett's on the mound, and they're at home, so not that bad there. And then the Pirates are 3 or are 5. Like, you could never find me to ever bet the Pirates to lead the slate ever. And that guy for the Miami Marlins is not. I've watched a couple games. He sucked in Coors, but he's not that bad. So I poke a hole in a lot of them, and then you look at the worst bullpen in the league, man. Sign me up. I like fading these White Sox because, my God, Michael Kopech's actually good now. He's actually good. And you just leave Chicago, and now you're good. Like, it's crazy what happens when you leave that place.
Yeah, it's not fair, and it's not fair that these teams, people, Orioles, Dodgers, people just show up and get good there. It's not fair. What are the Nationals doing? Why can't we be like that? But I do see in the chat a couple people on Juwan Jennings receiving yards. Yeah, he could also benefit if Ayuk does play less snaps. Jennings is just like the consistent outside wide receiver 3. My biggest thing is just the reason I'm so high on this Jet secondary is because it isn't just Sauce. Like Reed and Carter are really good as well. Like the second and third corners are both really good, and they could be other teams' number 1 corners. All 3 of these guys would be the number 1 Commanders corner, right? So it's one of those things where it's like, I like Juwan Jennings in like high leverage games just because he's that like third down option. He's that consistent, like always open for like 13 yards exactly kind of guy. But like this matchup isn't good for him. Like it doesn't get better as you go lower down the depth chart. Like most teams, right? When you get a team with Sauce, you normally take out the wide receiver 1. Let's go to the 2 and 3. I don't think the Jets are like that. I think for me, it's like take away all the wide receivers and go from there. So I'm rooting for it. I like Juwan Jennings. He's a tough guy, consistent player. Just like if you're a Niners fan, you love the guy, but I don't know if I'm going to be betting on him tonight.
Good looks. Anything else to before we head out? Obviously, we got our plays out, ready to go. Still 35 of you guys in here with us. We appreciate you joining us on your Monday. Obviously, we have our Wednesday show coming up here in a couple of days. You got anything for the people here before we head out?
Yeah, I mean, not the most exciting, I guess game. I guess tonight can be exciting. I don't know. I was going to say I might have a long shot parlay, but then I was like, well, it might have to be an unders long shot parlay, because I don't know if I can find that many overs. But I have 2 props tonight, the one I did here, and then I have another under that I released over in the 4for4 Discord. I love that play. It was with Connor Allen. We talked about it together. So if you do want to check that out, go, follow the link in bio over to the 4for4 Discord. But yeah, just excited. Have, these plays out tonight, and hopefully we keep that momentum going and get a good Wednesday show. I believe, is it Dolphins Bills? That's a great Thursday night football game if that's it. So
yes, sir. Yeah, it should be fun. Obviously, I have a Josh Allen exposure and all of our stuff. In fantasy, 3-2, start the season, feeling good about it, and hopefully you guys are ready to roll again on Wednesday. So thank you guys. Best of luck tonight. And we'll see you Wednesday for Thursday Night Football. So thank you guys, and we'll see you soon.